One day, a man was driving home from a business trip. It was getting late in the night and the man was getting sleepy. Eventually, it got so bad that he couldn't even think about driving another mile. He saw a hotel sign off to his left, and he thought, great, somewhere to stay. He pulled up, grabbed his suitcase, and started walking up the path to the hotel. When he arrived, his heart sank a little. It was old and dingy with bubbling windows and peeling paint. The reception was not better. It smelt like an old wet dog, and the woman behind the desk looked like she was going to strangle someone if they said something wrong. The man asked, "Any vacancies?" She coldly replied, "No." The man's heart sunk a little more. He then thought, rather craftily he later said, to change tact. He kept bothering the woman behind the desk until she finally gave in. "Fine, I'll rent out part of the hotel I don't normally. Just, whatever you do, don't go near room 113. The man, overjoyed by this turn of events, quickly agreed and went up to his room. The man didn't find any trouble in getting to sleep. He washed, got changed, and as soon as his head hit the pillow, he was out cold. It was later he had trouble. The man woke up with a start. He looked at his clock and it read 12:43. He sighed and shut his eyes. But no matter what he could do, he couldn't go to sleep. Eventually, the man relented. He got up, washed his face, and left his room. He walked down the corridor towards the exit, meaning to get some fresh air, but something caught his eye. There was a door at the end which was scratched and slightly odd. The man stepped closer and read the number. Room 113. He froze. This was the room he was told not to go near. But he was already there. The man briefly thought to himself and decided to take a peek. He bent down and pressed his eye to the keyhole. He smiled to himself. All he saw was a girl sitting facing away from him on a neat bed. He thought that this must be some kind of joke and stepped carefully back over to his room as to not disturb the girl. He got into his bed and soon fell into a dreamless sleep. The man woke up with a start. He looked at his clock and it read 2:43. This feels awfully familiar, he thought, and tried to go back to sleep. Again, no matter how much he lay there, he couldn't return. So he got up. He washed his face and left his room, intending to go outside. But this time he heard a sound. He turned around and it seemed to have come from room 113. He thought something similar might have woken him up, so he walked over to ask the girl to be a bit quieter. But something stopped him. He remembered the warning of the receptionist, and instead he decided to look through the keyhole. Nothing. The girl was nowhere to be seen. He stepped over to his room and tried to sleep. The man woke up with a start. He looked at his clock and it read 5:43. He gasped and a shiver ran down his spine. He got up, he left his room without washing his face, and he looked in room 113's keyhole. It was red. He sighed, and he thought it must have been the Do Not Disturb sign on the inside of the door. That was what he got for being nosy. He went back to sleep, disconcerted and a little bit annoyed. In the morning, as he left the hotel, he asked the receptionist, "So what's the deal with room 113? She coldly looked at him. "A girl died there 43 years ago. Everyone who has seen her says that her eyes are bright red.